that streams together, dreams together. It's a great start. So why are we doing this and what's going on? So our family is going to be heading off to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando in about 4 weeks. And we're still making announcements. Is that better? Well, it's hard to tell. No? Can you hear me? Okay.
A lot.
Testing. Hello, hello. Yes, no.
No change. Here, you listen to it.
Okay. All right, so we're clearly dealing with some technical difficulties right now because you can't hear me well, right?
I'll wait 20 seconds until I can answer you.
Okay. Please hold.
I can hear you, but it's faint still. The problem is that this is too low. The height, the volume of it is too low.
Peanut, can you say something?
Hello, hello? How's that?
After the change, I can hear you much better. All right, I don't know why my mic is cranked all the way right now, so I'm not really sure what the problem is. What about now? Okay. Is that good? Okay. All right. Hey, thanks everybody who's chiming in. Okay. So we decided to do this live stream tonight because we are preparing to go to Halloween Horror Nights as a family. And there's one particular house that we are not that familiar with, but we happen to have a resident expert in our midst within this household. And that house is
5 Nights at Freddy's.
also known as FNAF. Yes, so full disclosure, too much audio noise in the background. Okay. Is that better? So this is a strange situation because I'm used to live streaming with just one mic. So I think one of the problems we have is we have multiple mics in play tonight. All right, I'm going to assume that the audio noise is a little bit improved, but please let us know if it's not the case. All right, so music is overshadowing the noises. Okay, we're turning off the music. How's that?
Yeah, or isn't that the volume way high?
Better? Better?
I gotta wait 20 seconds before I can answer.
No change yet? Can you still hear the music?
The music's gone.
Okay. How's that?
Okay.
All right, great. Cool. Okay. So, getting back to it. So, HHN, FNAF house. We're trying to come up to speed so that when we're walking through that house, Dustin and I kind of have an idea of what is going on in the house and what the Easter eggs are. We do have a resident expert in our household, our daughter, who will be referred to as Peanut, which is my little nickname for her for the duration of the live stream, has been a fan of FNAF for the majority of her life. So we asked her to put together a presentation for us on all the things that we need to come up to speed on in order to best appreciate FNAF at HHN. So I am going to turn this over to Peanut in a minute, and she's going to walk us through a presentation really meant to be a discussion about Five Nights at Freddy's. I have some information I'll share along the way, and yeah, it'll be a fun, chill night. What I can say to start off is that Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be appearing in both the Orlando and Hollywood HHN events this year. I don't think that it's going to be in Vegas. And yeah, on that note, I am going to hand it off. Are you ready to get us going, kiddo?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
All right.
So what do you got for us?
So, Five Nights at Freddy's started in 2014 when Scott Cawthon released the first FNAF game. This was shortly after one of his earlier games, Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. was very poorly received and was criticized for its animatronic-like characters and animations. So Scott decided, fine, I'll just make an animatronic game then. And FNAF then grew wildly popular over the next decade and has over 12 releases at this point, from main games to spin-offs and a whole slew of different books. I will only really be talking about these 8 of them, up from FNAF 1, released in 2014, to Ultimate Custom Night, released in 2018.
So, okay, so what is all of this on the screen that we're looking at? Are these the various games that have released?
These are the games I will be talking about in their order of release. You'll notice some of these are only a couple months apart. Despite Scott Cawthon being the only producer of these games up until Help Wanted, he was very quick in production and would often release games way ahead of schedule.
Okay. All right. So I have a question here. So first off, we have a comment. Jesus, 2014 feels old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, what feels older to me is when I think of the games I was playing when I was the age of our teenage daughter right now. Okay. So, all right. One of the questions I have is about Scott himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, did he have any, and if you don't know that, it's okay. Did he have any history before FNAF? Like, what was his deal? What did he do?
He made a lot of smaller games. His first one was a very simple shooter game where you just shot blocks as a little shrimp, I think was the character. He hadn't been very popular up until FNAF released. Not many of his games are well known. Even Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. was pretty under the radar and wasn't recognized as a game really until FNAF released.
Were those standalone games or were they like mini games as part of something else?
Mostly standalones, I think. But I won't be talking, to address the comment, I won't be talking about some of the more modern games because they start talking about more in-depth stories, sometimes going back and changing things, and they're not very relevant to the movie, or which it seems like the house is going to be mostly based on.
Okay. All right. Got it.
And
All
by
right.
house, you mean?
The haunted house at Orlando Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay. Got it. And we do have some information on a little bit of what that house is probably going to cover based on some of the press releases. Mm-hmm. You want me to save that information for now until we get a little deeper?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go.
Then when Help Wanted released in 2019 as a VR game, this was the first game that Scott had a big producer helping him with. It's the first game that he wasn't doing solo, and that producer was Steel Wool Studios. Shortly after Help Wanted released in roughly 2021, Scott Cawthon, quote-unquote, retired from making games, but ever since then, he's still had a hand in the production of most of the games, even the movie he was on set for a lot of the time. I wouldn't be shocked if he had input in the house that we're going to see at Orlando.
I would imagine he does, just because
I'm sure.
I will say, one of the comments that I noticed on Reddit was a few FNAF fans have talked about how, his control over the brand of FNAF is really one of the reasons why you haven't seen an HHN house on this theme up until this point.
Yeah, definitely. even since 2014 when the first game released, he was trying to make movies for a long time based on his franchise, but the scripts never worked out. He never liked the story. He didn't like the actors. Something always went wrong during production, and it was abandoned over and over and over again. It became kind of a joke in the fandom that we were never going to get a FNAF movie.
Okay, got it.
I like how on this one you've depicted 2019 as like an Apple IIe computer, which was actually maybe a 1991-ish model.
Yeah. I wanted an upgrade from the Post-its on the board.
Well, mission accomplished, I guess.
The main thing to know that I think is the most important when we go into the house is who the characters in this franchise are, who the main characters are. And of course, the majority of them are the animatronics. These are Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the bear, Chica the chicken, Foxy the pirate fox, and Golden Freddy.
Wait, Bonnie the what?
Bunny.
Got it.
Most of the...
Not to be confused with that yellow bunny dude.
No,
So there's two rabbits.
Yes, I'll talk about him in a minute. There's two rabbits. If the rabbit is purple or blue, it is Bonnie. If it is yellow or green, it is not Bonnie.
All right. For our viewers' edification, if your cursor shows, it might be helpful to point at characters as you talk.
Oh, okay. Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the bunny, Chica the chicken, Foxy the pirate fox, and Golden Freddy. The majority of the animatronics in the franchise are variants based on these original 5. Typically more so the core 4 here. The second game brings us the toy variants with Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, and Toy Foxy, who is more commonly known as the Mangle. FNAF 2 also brings us the puppet, who while is not exactly a Golden Freddy stand-in, she has a similar role in the lore. She is the one that made the animatronics possessed in the first place.
So what's special about Golden Freddy?
Golden Freddy was initially an Easter egg in the games. He would sometimes appear in your office and would crash your game if you didn't open the cameras in time.
Is he like an upgrade over regular Freddy, or like a...
He's an old suit. He's an old version of Freddy in the timeline.
Okay.
He's like a throwback. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then FNAF 2 also brings us the withered variants, Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, Withered Foxy, and Withered Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy still remains mostly an Easter egg in the games. He's sort of just a mysterious figure that's present.
So there's all kinds of different Freddys floating around.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, got it.
We'll skip over FNAF 3 because I'll talk about it later, but the only real animatronic in FNAF 3 is that yellow rabbit who I talk about in a little bit. All the other ones are fake.
All right, so I have a question before you go any further. I'm anticipating that we might be going to the next screen soon. So, okay, there's multiple versions of, is the Chica's the chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Multiple versions of, there's multiple versions of all of these.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of these replace other ones, or are they just different variations that may pop up?
They don't exactly replace them. These are simply characters at different points in time, but they're the same. They're not the same animatronics, but they're the same characters.
Okay.
We see them sometimes together and sometimes separately, like in the fifth game, still not right. Sister Location, we have the Funtime variants, which you'll notice there's only a Funtime Freddy. This is Bon Bon, and this is Funtime Foxy. Funtime Chica does appear in a later game, but she's kind of just a joke character that she doesn't matter very much.
So we have an astute commenter saying that, to be fair, FNAF games take place over many decades starting in the 80s. Is that right?
Yes, it does. It starts in the 1980s, around 1983.
And the concept is that Freddy's is like a hellish kind of Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah. It's a Chuck E. Cheese where many things go wrong.
Okay, got it.
There-
Is it post-apocalyptic?
No, it's very realistic, kind of, until you get into the weird sci-fi stuff.
Is everything in the Freddy universe like that way? Is it part of the whole thing, or is it like they live in a normal human timeline but have this crazy going on?
Yeah, it's a normal human
Freddy's
timeline, but Freddy's is
franchise.
just really weird.
And is Freddy's a single location or like a franchise with locations all over the place?
It's a very large franchise that appears and disappears randomly, but the company itself remains for a while.
Okay.
There are there there are some human characters to be aware of, mainly Purple Guy, aka William Afton.
And that's a normal character.
That's a person?
This is a person. He was made purple originally because Scott Cawthon wanted him to be shrouded in shadows during his first appearance. But the backgrounds in the pixel art cutscenes were already so dark that if he was black, you wouldn't be able to see him at all. So he substituted purple for shadows, and it just kind of stuck.
It reminds me of that cult documentary I watched about that lady who was, she was like the leader of a cult, and she started taking colloidal silver because she was convinced that it
Blue.
amplified her spiritual
Her
properties, and it turned her blue, and then she was no longer existing.
What's
after
this guy's
that.
name again?
This is Purple Guy, but his actual human name is William Afton.
Is
William
he in a
Afton.
cult?
Maybe later.
Maybe he's taking colloidal silver.
He
People-
reminds me of Grimace, who steals all your burgers. I
Yeah.
thought that was the Hamburglar. What did Grimace do?
I don't know.
Grimace was a McDonald's.
But Grimace wasn't a
character.
person. Grimace was a monster. People just don't take colloidal silver. That's my only. Okay. Anyway,
Leave on
William
most
Afton,
opponents.
hello.
yeah.
William Afton is the main antagonist of the franchise. He's the perpetrator of all the tragedies that occur, which
So
there are many.
wait. What is so like? Is he the owner of the pizza place?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I know who he is because we watched the movie. I know
Yes.
who he is. I have so many questions.
Be right back. Nature calls for the dogs.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's keep going.
All right. This is William Afton, main antagonist. He's not actually purple. There's a character later that is
Got it.
actually purple. Don't get them confused.
Oh, is he? But so he's also not one of those purple people, right?
No.
Who just wears a lot of purple.
No, he's just in shadows.
Okay, watch your cord on your mic because
Oh,
every
okay.
time you hit it, it's going to make a noise.
Oh, sorry. He's
Okay.
just suspicious.
All right, so there we go. So he's just purple, so he appears on screen better, is basically what it comes down to.
Yes.
It's interesting to me that. So is that what he actually looks like in the game? Or are these just representative for copyright reasons?
This is his in-game sprite. We don't see his actual appearance in the games. We only see it in the comic book adaptions or the movie.
Got it. Okay.
In the game, he's only ever represented as this purple dude.
Okay.
Next is his wife, Next is his wife, who is only canonically referred to in-game as Mrs. Afton. She's not brought up very much, but she is referenced in a fictional comic book, in a fictional cartoon character named Clara, and is also referenced by the animatronic Ballora, who is also from Sister Location. She sings a fun little song about how sad their household is.
Their marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, it's a great marriage.
Is that a tiara?
Yeah, she's a ballerina.
Oh. Okay then.
The wife or the animatronic?
The animatronic is a ballerina. The wife might be a ballerina. We don't know anything about the wife.
Okay.
William Afton later goes on to become the yellow bunny named Springtrap.
So I have to say, for the record, I, for some reason in the movie, thought he was a white bunny and made all these white rabbit like assumptions about why Scott made him a bunny. I was like, oh, like this is like Yeah.
Yeah, he's yellow.
He's not a white rabbit, so we don't
No.
even have to go into what that symbolizes in like not REO Speedwagon. Who wrote the White Rabbit song?
Led Zeppelin?
Jefferson Airplane.
Oh.
Yeah. I had that whole thing going, but that's not what's going on. So, okay, all right. Now that I've derailed that whole thing.
If there is a yellow or a green rabbit, especially if the green rabbit is rotting like this is William Afton.
Got it. So, does Scott have a thing for rabbits? Because he made the worst character into a rabbit. Like, why didn't he use a different animal?
I think part of the reason might have been the main cast, I think, was just assigned animals as cartoon characters to entertain kids.
Mm-hmm.
And Bonnie the bunny just so happened to be the one that scared Scott the most while he was producing FNAF. He's talked about how Bonnie used to give him nightmares when he was making the game. So I think potentially when he was coming up with this scary evil guy, he just associated it with the bunny that terrified him the most in his game.
Interesting. I agree. I don't like that other rabbit either.
Bonnie's my favorite.
And yeah. But it's funny because you don't really think about bunnies being like dangerous unless it's, in Monty Python.
Yeah.
Like the Holy Grail, that rabbit.
Typically they're pretty helpless.
But that was a white rabbit. It wasn't a yellow rabbit either.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Aside from William Afton and Miss Afton, there is also their two youngest children, Elizabeth Afton and the Crying Child. The Crying Child is never given an actual name in the games. Some people theorize his name is Evan, but it hasn't been confirmed. So most people just call him the Crying Child. This family does not last very long.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Does he have really scrawny arms, or is he just giving us the double-fisted finger?
Well, he's like 8 years old or something. He's a little
Scrawny
boy,
arms.
and this is a little girl.
That child is sad. We just got that comment in the chat.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
he is.
look at his parents. Of course he's sad.
His older brother bullies him a lot.
He's a sad beige child.
So wait, he has an older brother,
We're
but
gonna
you're only referencing two.
We're going to talk about the older brother in a second.
So it's but wait, there's more situation.
Yeah, but wait, there is more.
Okay.
The Crying Child, in a cruel prank by his brother, is bit by one of William Afton's first animatronics and does not make it. His sister is kidnapped by another one and goes missing.
So time out. Okay. So this dude William opens a pizza shop.
Mm-hmm.
Builds a bunch of animatronics that start getting violent.
Yes.
And then one of the animatronics bites one of his kids,
Yes, because his brother put him in its mouth.
who then is no longer with us.
Yes.
And then, okay. So, wait, he dies from a... Yes.
Yes.
Apparently, that's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm. He gets bit.
So, is it like an infection that gets him, or do they not... Or is it like Jaws type
So,
of...
the early animatronics use spring lock mechanisms. And
you kept pointing out in the movie that this is important.
The early animatronics use spring lock mechanisms, and the Crying Child is crying, and the spring locks fail, and the animatronic's head crushes his.
Got it. Did he get tetanus? That's exactly what
Maybe.
I'm wondering.
Maybe
Like,
he also got tetanus.
could be.
We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Just this family is no longer none of them are normal humans anymore.
It seems like there's an awful lot going on.
There's
Yes.
definitely some dysfunction.
Now,
Yes.
is this the experience that the FNAF fan has engaging with FNAF? Is that there's always just chaotically a lot going on?
It's a hellscape.
Exactly, yeah. That's
Okay.
exactly what it
All
feels
right.
like.
I'm just wondering if I just should prepare for just chaos.
Yeah, it gets a little chaotic. Yeah, his head gets crushed, she gets kidnapped, and disappears.
Who does who kidnaps her?
A different animatronic.
Okay.
We'll I mention that again later.
All right, I have a whole series of questions.
I know.
These animatronics are a little problematic to me.
I promise I'm going to go into way more detail in a little bit.
Got it.
I'm just warming you up to these characters. Possessed bunny, irrelevant,
Irrelevant
bit,
ballerina.
kidnapped.
Got it.
Okay. Next up is their oldest brother, Michael Afton, whose name you might recognize from the movie.
So this is the guy who put his brother's arm in the animatronic.
His head.
His head.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So when I was like, well, how did he die from a bite? You could have said, well, he didn't get bit on the arm, Mom. It's his head.
I thought I mentioned that part.
Yeah,
he
no.
got bit on the head.
All right. So that would explain things dramatically. Like if somebody bites your head off, like.
Yeah. This is Michael Afton.
Afton. All
Through
right.
a series of events that will also be explained very shortly, he becomes that.
Wait, that's the purple guy.
This is the actual purple guy.
So there's two purple guys.
There's two purple guys. There is fake purple guy William Afton, who is a lighter shade of purple. And then there is Michael Afton, who is actually purple.
Is he taking colloidal silver?
No, but he is a zombie.
Oh, I love zombies. But
Yeah.
zombies technically are never purple.
Well, this one is purple.
Okay. All right. Gamma Dust, are you keeping up with this? Gamma Dust has got a running list of notes for anyone who happens to join the chat later on. So I appreciate the way you're keeping up so thoroughly. This is a good question. Is there a reason for the color purple being so prominent?
I'm not actually entirely sure. It seems like Scott has kind of latched onto the color purple as being the color of evil in his franchise. Because originally it did start as the symbol for shadows, and I guess he just connected shadows to evil. But we can...
Why is... I'm going on to Google.
So yeah, let's double check.
Fascinating viewing here.
Yeah, I'm not going to use the AI. We're going straight to Reddit. Let's see. Oh my goodness.
I
Yeah.
think it goes back to McDonald's and Grimace.
So
Scott did it because of Grimace.
Purple is undeniably the most important color in the FNAF series, being the color of the series antagonist.
Purple guy,
Um,
aka William Afton.
Purple is used on multiple characters with no association to Afton.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
It is definitely the color of FNAF.
So,
Oh, Gamma Dust has some.
okay, so this Redditor was very ambitious and came up with 3 different hypotheses.
Oh yeah, we're looking at the same thing.
Oh yeah, we are.
Represent particular characters based on existing color associations. The color is used to represent ideas or values communicated.
Oh, and then somebody says that they think that the only reason that purple is prominent is because it was used to represent shadow, because the games originally had the black backgrounds, as you mentioned.
Yeah. I think that might be the main reason it became the representative color of the shadows, where all the evil things were happening, where all the suspicious things were happening.
Another Redditor points out that various colors have been symbolic in society. And if you look up on Google the purple colors, dark purple represents evil, sadness, and frustration. I don't entirely agree with that commenter because dark purple is also the color of royalty.
Yes.
So leadership and whatnot.
But that's an ancient idea. Purple was ready for a rebrand.
Ready for a rebrand from royal to evil and sadness?
Sure.
What an interesting rebrand.
I can already feel myself starting to spiral into a rabbit hole over the
Oh,
color
yeah.
purple.
So your graphic here shows purple guy on the left turning into purple guy on the right. Is that an evolution?
This is Michael Afton. He starts out as normal looking dude, and then he becomes a purple zombie.
So we have another comment, but he is secretly dangerous and violent. For Freddy in FNAF, brown means security. Bow tie is black, and black means death. Freddy is meant to be safe, but he is secretly deadly. For Foxy, red is anger.
Foxy is definitely pretty angry. He runs around flailing his little hook hand around like a maniac.
All right. I think we're going to have to investigate this color symbolism more.
Yeah, but
maybe that can be part of our next theme.
Maybe.
That we cover in a future live stream.
Purple is very important. Michael Afton becomes zombie Michael Afton. That is purple.
How? How does that happen?
I explain in a minute.
Okay.
It is very weird.
You missed the comment above it. They connect. Sorry. The comment.
The colors used.
The color design is based on existing color association. The colors used represent ideas or values communicated, or the colors represent particular characters. So thank you for putting those hypotheses in. That's a great summary in comparison to, that's the same Reddit post I was just referring to a few minutes ago that was like 20 paragraphs long. So thank you for summarizing
it was very long. But now let's get into...
It's also the color like that people turn when they're dead, kind of.
Yeah.
Strangulation or
and he's dead.
Asphyxiation.
This guy's dead.
The more you know. A learning moment for our child.
Yeah. Dead man. He's purple. Oh yeah, Bonnie's purple. To be fair though, apparently Bonnie was supposed to be blue. And then because of textures and lighting, he looks purple for the most part, in his first two variations being the original Bonnie and Withered Bonnie. That's why some variations of Bonnie are blue instead. You could show that to the camera. This little guy is blue instead of purple, despite being based off the purple Withered Bonnie.
Where did you get that from?
Oh, I got that from Fan Expo today. It's just a little figure.
All the purple talk just makes me want to say, you're turning violet, Violet.
I just want to say that I'm very disappointed in myself for not getting tickets for myself to go to Fan Expo because Arden Cho was there, who is Rumi in Demon Hunters, and I totally would have stood in line for hours and gotten a picture with her.
But now I will... Oh, wait. Never mind. Sorry. Hang on.
But
I
wait,
forgot.
There's more.
There is more. This is one of the stand-ins for a man named Henry Emily. Henry Emily was William Afton's business partner who helped him establish the Freddy Fazbear franchise. He was the technician and mechanic for most of the animatronics. He's the creator of them. There is also his daughter, Charlotte, who is one of William's earliest victims and is the first soul to possess an animatronic. She possesses the puppet.
Is it a bad Charlotte or a good Charlotte?
It's a good Charlotte. This Charlotte is very nice. I do want to clarify, there's technically two Charlottes, and they are two different characters. This is Charlie Emily, who is a robotic recreation of Charlotte from the books. Henry Emily made her as an android in his grief over losing his daughter, and implanted in her all of the memories from Charlotte's childhood, and made 4 variations of her body so that she could, quote-unquote, grow up. She doesn't know she's a robot. None of her friends know she's a robot. None of her family knows she's a robot. But she's very different from Charlotte. So if somebody says Charlie, that's not Charlotte.
Or as Chris Rock once said, good Charlotte? More like mediocre Green Day.
Okay. I just want to...
Wow.
That's a deep cut.
I'm completely lost at this point.
Yeah, this is This is the part where we get a little bit more complicated.
Wait, what year did he make RoboChild?
Let me double check that.
Well, RoboCop came out in 1989.
Fun facts.
I know that Charlotte passed in 1983. And this says, according to Reddit, Henry starts making the Charlie robot very shortly after Charlotte's death. So probably still in 1983, and she was finished probably 1984.
I could see how that would be, the trauma would be motivating.
Yeah.
Is RoboChild Circus Baby?
No.
Okay, so don't listen to Google AI. Sorry, Google.
Circus
I know
Baby-
you own YouTube, but
Circus Baby is a
Everything
different character.
everything I've searched for so far has been completely inaccurate when it comes
Circus
to the AI
Baby.
summary.
Circus Baby is the animatronic that kidnapped Elizabeth.
And he transferred her consciousness multiple times. Does he use voodoo or something?
He recorded videos of fake recreations of her childhood using a camera and tripod, and then would implant those videos into the robot to serve as kind of her memory bank, so that she thinks she has lived a normal life up until now, and she has not.
That's sad.
It is. Her father made childhood memories by playing with a computer on the slides.
He's the worst.
Yeah, Henry Emily doesn't have very good coping mechanisms. Now I would like to touch on the game timeline as much as I can. I'm trying to simplify everything, so if certain parts are different or not exact, I'm trying to make this as easily digestible as possible, because it is not very easily digestible.
All right, help the old guy out. This is the timeline of multiple game releases
No, this is
Or
the
it's a
timeline
timeline
of the
of-
story.
of the story inside the first game, or across the whole lore.
Across
All the games.
the first 8 games, yes.
Okay.
Which continues into the rest of the games
Okay.
and the movie. It does not go in chronological order. So,
of course it doesn't.
yeah, why would it? Why would it go in chronological order?
No one makes anything linear these days.
The first point in our timeline is actually not in any of the games. It is a collection of information we learn throughout all of them, which is... oh, goodness. Sorry, 1 second.
Take your time. We got plenty of time. We're still
Yes.
pretty early into the live stream right now.
Fazbear Entertainment, the company that made the Freddy Fazbear franchise in in-game lore, was founded by William Afton and Henry Emily. Shortly after, they make their first restaurant called Fredbear's Family Diner. And here there is only 2 animatronics. There is Fredbear, a yellow bear with a top hat and bow, which you might recognize from the Golden Freddy suit, and a yellow bunny named Spring Bonnie.
So stop. Fredbear's Family Diner. Is that the restaurant featured in the movie?
No,
Okay.
it is not. The animatronics at Fredbear's Family Diner use spring lock mechanisms. These mechanisms are able to hold back the robotic parts inside the suit so that they can be used as both an animatronic and worn by employees as a costume, which is a very safe idea that did not go wrong at all in terribly horrible ways.
So since we're talking about the animatronics, I'm going to chime in here and say, because honestly, we're all here tonight to learn this because of going to HHN. So one of the things that Universal has said about the upcoming HHN and FNAF's presence there is that Jim Henson's Creature Shop is creating a fully animated Freddy Fazbear.
Which I am so excited about.
And Universal has stated that this is going to be the most complex animatronic that they have ever built for a Halloween Horror Night.
I am so pumped, especially because the Jim Henson Studios made the costumes and the animatronics that are in the movie, and those were very high quality and very game accurate. So I have high
If
hopes.
there's anything that gets Peanut excited, it's animatronics.
Yes,
I
yes.
love robots. I love animatronics so much. Some people think they're terrifying. I love them.
Okay. All right. So this diner that you're talking about, bringing it back to the timeline, is not the same as the movie.
No, not
Okay.
entirely. I'll explain why later. FNAF has many problems with consistency across medias. I do think that this is still very important to know for the games because this is how it all started. This is the baseline that they then change and alter. After a series of tragedies, including the crying child and Charlotte's passing, the Fredbear's Family Diner closes for good. But soon they open a second, what's it called?
Franchise.
Restaurant?
Restaurant. They open a second restaurant, and at this same time, William Afton is running a third restaurant, kind of, called Circus Baby's Pizza World, with animatronics he has made, because he thinks that Henry's are too conservative. He thinks they can do more advanced creations.
I have an important question.
Yes,
Circus Baby's Pizza World.
Circus Baby.
Is it a pizza world owned by Circus Baby, or is it pizza made of Circus Babies?
Circus Baby is the lead animatronic
And-
at Circus Baby's Pizza
Okay.
World, so she owns it.
What
Okay.
exactly is a circus baby?
Circus Baby is a terrifying, gigantic clown robot that is probably over 7 feet tall.
Okay, and does it look like a circus peanut? Because that's what I see in my head.
No, it doesn't. Circus Baby. Ooh.
It says that's a link to Gamma Dust posted. That's a link to animatronics at Universal being displayed, but I don't see it anywhere.
Ooh. Well, I'm sure we'll find it. But Circus Baby is a giant, horrific, over 7 foot tall, potentially 8 or 10 feet tall animatronic that looks like a female circus clown with red pigtails and an ice cream scooper in her stomach.
I don't
Her
like
stomach
it. No, wait,
also-
why is there an ice cream scooper? Oh, that's gross.
Her stomach also has a large cavity that can fit a small child.
That doesn't sound like a baby because babies
So-
can't carry other babies in their stomachs.
But she has an ice cream compartment, and Elizabeth Afton went missing, and she has a compartment in her stomach that can hold a small child. So Circus Baby kidnaps Elizabeth, and William Afton shuts down Circus Baby's Pizza World.
Who's Elizabeth again?
That's Afton's daughter.
Oh, that's the girl. So when you said very earlier that she gets kidnapped.
Yes.
This is who.
Uh-huh.
So Circus Baby kidnaps Elizabeth.
Yes.
And William Afton does nothing about that?
He closes the restaurant down, but he can't get her back.
Why does he keep making things that are doing bad stuff?
Because it seems like, yes, the lore is very messed up, but it seems like the Funtime animatronics and Circus Baby in particular were made to kidnap children. And it just so happened that Elizabeth wandered away from William Afton's view. She was out of sight. She was the only one in the room. And so Circus Baby took her chance.
Okay.
All right. And then the real games actually start on FNAF 2. A restaurant called Junior's opens in roughly...
So FNAF 1 is what we just covered?
No.
Okay.
We didn't cover...
Keep going.
We didn't cover any game just now.
But
Got
we're
it.
going right to left from the diner to...
Just follow the red string as it gets added.
Right, but from the blue... We're starting with the blue pin and went from blue to red.
Yes. Now we're on FNAF 2. FNAF 2 is actually the first game in the timeline. Here they found this is the new establishment they have opened. It is called Junior's. It's opened in roughly 1987. And the classics Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy are used for parts to create the toy animatronics, which have a built-in security system to prevent the evil killer that showed up at their last restaurant from returning. This doesn't work because Afton tampers with their system, and now they can no longer recognize him. Con of having the evil killer be the restaurant owner. And during FNAF 2, you play as a night guard named Jeremy Fitzgerald, who experiences the animatronics and their security glitches coming to his office, thinking that he is a danger to the children that are no longer there anymore. They think they have to take him to the police. They're trying to get him, and it ends with him being bit again by the Mangle, who has been taken apart and put back together a lot, so she is not functioning properly. I say she, but the Mangle actually doesn't have a confirmed gender.
Is this the same security guard as in the movie?
No,
Okay.
it is not.
So this series is AI gone rogue, or ghosts are involved?
It's both.
Yes.
AI goes rogue. AI goes rogue typically due to tampering or poor design, and also ghosts show up at one point.
Okay.
I should note that the withered animatronics in FNAF 2 at this point are already possessed. So the missing children have already been taken, and they have already been put inside the suits. I don't entirely know how it lines up. The AI is not... It's weird. The AI is technically not sentient. It is evil in the sense that that is how it was programmed, but the robots aren't really making conscious decisions until they get possessed.
So, I'm going to say right now, I can see why this franchise is so beloved and popular with younger people like you and your generation.
Yeah.
Because I think, quite honestly, to fully enjoy this, you have to stop trying to put logic into it and just kind of go with it. And however the story happens to develop, you just have to take that leap of faith and be like, okay, this is the direction
Yes.
the story's going in.
Yeah,
now.
you kind of just gotta watch it play out. The ghosts are conscious. I wouldn't say they're evil. They're more confused.
I have so many questions that start to go down this pathway. I don't know if you want to address this now or we want to get deeper into it first.
I think
because you know what my big question is.
Yes,
be.
I think there's a couple points very soon in this section that will answer a lot of your questions.
Okay, so Gamma Dust, very good point on, are the ghosts conscious or evil? Hold that thought. I'm kind of going in that same direction, and you're going to prompt us, Peanut, when it's time for us to ask. Okay.
Next up is FNAF 4 is the next in the timeline. So we went from no game to FNAF 2 to the fourth game. It makes sense. FNAF 4 is set from the perspective of Michael Afton.
But this isn't necessarily the order in which the games were released.
Oh, not at all. The games were released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Right.
Okay.
She's explaining it in timeline order, not in chronological release order.
Yes.
How the story progresses.
How the story progresses.
It's similar to how when you're watching the Marvel movies, you got to kind of bounce around a little bit. Got it.
Except this is less confusing.
FNAF 4 is from the perspective of Michael Afton, who, after his brother's death and his sister's disappearance, begins to have nightmares about the animatronics from the establishments that manifest as horrific versions.
This makes sense to me.
Yeah. This is the one part of this entire plot that I'm like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
I would imagine you would be having nightmares.
Yeah. So Michael is having a lot of nightmares. These nightmares are manifesting as horrible hallucinations of these animatronics with teeth and claws coming to get him from the dark hallways outside of his room.
Poor baby. I feel so bad
I've
for
been
him.
exhausted all day from camping out last night, and congratulations, now I don't want to go to sleep.
Yeah, good job. I should note that all cutscenes in the game are from the perspective of the crying child and technically take place in this before time here. So even the content in FNAF 4 is not set in the same times. The gameplay is well after the cutscenes.
If all the cutscenes are from Crying Baby, this is just an allegory for parenthood in general.
So I just want to I just wonder. I wish I could talk to Scott, because what I want to know
we
is,
all wish we could talk to Scott.
Not me.
did he outline this all out intentionally, or was he just kind of going with it as ideas came to
We
him?
don't think so. We don't think it was outlined. It might have been.
Is that surprising to you that it would have just been a off the cuff?
Not considering the timeline from earlier in the presentation where so much happened in the span of a couple of months.
And
I feel like he's a little bipolar and was just firing stuff out.
And also, you have to remember, Five Nights at Freddy's was originally made as a joke game to get back at the people that were criticizing Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. He never expected it to explode in popularity in the way it did.
So one of the comments is kind of agreeing that he made it up for sure as he went along.
Yeah,
I
it does
agree.
start to get a little bit more streamlined once we hit Pizzeria Simulator. It starts making, like... That's not true. It doesn't start making more sense. It becomes... Once we hit Pizzeria Simulator, it is... The timeline order is the same as the order they were chronologically released. But yeah. FNAF 4 is really just Michael having hallucinations and nightmares about the creatures that took his siblings and the creatures that his father made. Some people think that... I probably shouldn't be mentioning this because this just makes it more confusing. In the books, they introduce a concept of sound illusion discs. We're not going to talk about the science of that, but they trick your brain into seeing something that's not there. Some people think William might have put those around the house and is intentionally using them to torment his last remaining child.
Wait, sound illusion discs create visual hallucinations?
According to the book trilogy, yes.
Yeah, and so, I'm going to build off of something else we're seeing in the comments. As the series became more popular, he kept adding into the lore and series, but from my understanding, he does an admirable job adding new lore into existing lore and weaving it together, even if it wasn't all intentional to begin with. So yeah, I was just trying to search while Peanut was talking to see, like, when did this whole franchise really take off? And it looks like it gained popularity right from the get-go when the first game launched in 2014, but that fans became more obsessed with the game after FNAF 2 and 3 came out.
Yes.
And so I agree. I think that what happened is that it not only was a successful game right from the start, but as the fans started digging deeper into the lore, he started filling some of the gaps into the story. And that's why it's kind of...
It's a little all over the place.
A crazy wall.
Yeah.
Well, from a socio-historical perspective, in the United States at least, it might not be coincidental that all this crazy stuff kind of the release dates of all the crazy stuff corresponds with the legalization of cannabis in the U.S. So... keep that in mind.
Yeah, FNAF became popular almost immediately upon its release. It exploded so fast. It's kind of shocking, especially since it's maintained that popularity for over a decade at this point.
Yeah, and in the chat, unexpected hit, right, is exactly right, because when I'm looking at what I'm finding about it online, like, it didn't get good reviews by the critics, but
no, not at all.
All of the streamers on YouTube and Twitch, the Let's Play gamers, were playing the game, and that's really, it just took off from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna yes and you a little bit that yes, there's like viral sensation element to it. but also it fit into this space where it was like scary but aimed at kids
Yeah.
and filling a genre that didn't really exist for like kid horror.
A lot of people
And then
consider
some like wasn't there some like forbidden nature of it that made kids
kind
go
of, yeah.
toward it even more?
A lot of people consider Five Nights at Freddy's to be the start of mascot horror, where the creepy and terrible things are done and started by cute little mascots that you wouldn't normally expect to be evil.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, as far as the fandom, you're right. Schedule One is another example more recently of something like that happening. But for your comment, Peanut, about how like mascot horror took place, like there's been a couple of games recently. Repo is one of them, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and like Poppy Playtime
That's
and
the
all
other
of
one.
those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the start
Yeah,
of all
totally.
those kinds of games.
I even personally think a lot of that analog horror that we see sometimes on YouTube now, if you've seen those series before, I think a lot of that might have even been started by Five Nights at Freddy's purely because of its security camera. You're looking at old newspapers on the wall, you're piecing together tiny bits of lore that most of the lore we know of the game isn't told to us. It's seen through, like I said, newspapers on the wall, little tidbits we get from the phone guy that tells you what to do in each game that Scott Cawthon voiced.
Or even like maybe like what about those observation duty games?
That I think those definitely had a little bit of FNAF inspiration from them.
Okay, all right, keep going.
Anyway, back to the timeline. Many years after Junior's closes, Michael Afton is now an adult, or like at least old enough to get a job, and the original Freddy Fazbear's reopens with refurbished versions of the classic 5 animatronics. Michael Afton here is working as one of the night guards under the alias, which, Mom, you might recognize from the movie, Mike Schmidt, which is his exact name in the movie, which was a fun little Easter egg for all of us, and I will mention again later.
I struggled
That
with
won't
that
get
character
past me.
in the movies. Are we gonna at some point? I appreciate going over the game stuff, and I'm glad that we're doing that. Will we discuss the movie?
Yes,
Okay,
we
good.
will.
So I'm gonna leave my
That's
comments
right after
and
this.
questions till after this.
Yes. But because, and this is the reason that children are attacking Michael in the first game, is because it's established throughout the series that Michael Afton looks almost exactly like his father. And the animatronics, having facial recognition scanners or whatever, or just it's dark and they can't see very well because they're robots and ghosts, mistake Michael Afton as his father, and they are trying to get to him because they think he's the person that hurt them in the first place. They're just trying to get revenge for being murdered. If they knew it was Michael Afton and not William Afton, they probably would have left him alone. Eventually, William Afton does return to this location, however, and he starts trying to take apart the animatronics because he's realized, oh no, these are possessed by ghosts. Somehow, I need to destroy these. But doing that only frees the souls from the metal casing they were in, and they start chasing him through the pizzeria, and that terrifies him like any semi-reasonable person. They chase him into a back room, and he finds the old Spring Bonnie suit, which he puts on in an attempt to scare the children away from attacking him and to sort of protect himself. But because of his rapid movements and his sweat, the spring locks in the suit fail, and the children leave him in the back room to...
Perish?
Yeah, to perish.
So,
which we see happen at the end of the movie
yeah,
as well.
I was gonna say this sounds familiar to me, but very different circumstances.
Very different circumstances, yes.
Okay.
I should note that somehow around here, or potentially earlier in the timeline, yeah, to die. Potentially around here, or potentially earlier in the timeline. It's really unclear when this happens. William Afton melts down the remnants of the classic animatronics into this conglomeration of metal and souls, which is a material called remnant. This material is what either the animatronics in sister location are made of, even though they should technically already exist. Maybe they were injected with it. We don't know what the deal with remnant is. It's very confusing, but that's a thing. Soul metal.
I'm laughing because your dad's looking at the chat, and I think the Nightbot is confusing him. That's an automation.
I understand.
Anyway, after not being able to find his father at the original Fazbear location, Michael goes looking for his sister instead, because to his knowledge, she has only ever gone missing. Looking for leads on where... Oh, yeah. It's crazy. Soul metal. It's not the weirdest thing that has happened in this franchise. In the books, they introduced this substance called Fazgoo. What is Fazgoo?
I almost do not want you to answer that question.
I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay, good.
It's like
There's
slime.
a time-traveling ball pit in the books. It gets very confusing. The games are the most sane part of this franchise.
I have to say, I was actually planning to do a live stream on Tuesday night, and I was going to play one of the FNAF games just to give me a little more context for our trip to HHN, and I'm not entirely sure what. Stop
Nightbot.
spamming. Warning.
Nightbot.
I don't know. Nightbot's getting a little crazy.
I think Nightbot is
Yeah.
What'd it do?
we're being overtaken by some Fazgoo.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it deleted all of your
deleted yeah.
messages.
Oh,
I don't know why it did that. Hang on a second. Give me this.
Yeah, here you go. Take
All
that.
right, keep
Technical
chatting.
difficulties. Yeah, the games are somehow the most sane part of this franchise, which might be shocking based on the information I have just told you.
Oh, it's because you said the word on a live.
Oh, it was a really late reaction to that, though.
Yeah.
See, weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It is.
It looked like he
Silly.
came back, though. It looks like he can still talk.
Yeah. Yeah. You can.
Okay.
I don't like you, Nightbot. Sorry about that.
Okay.
We don't like Nightbot either, Gamma Dust.
Well, I like Nightbot if a bunch of bots end up in the chat. So
That's
why
true.
That's why Nightbot is here.
A bunch of bots like Nightbot.
Yeah.
It's a good bot and a bad bot.
Exactly.
Okay. I like bad bots and I cannot lie.
Okay.
No, we like good bots and we cannot lie.
The next game in the timeline is the 5th game, Sister Location, because of course the number would go 2, 4, 1, 5. That makes sense. Anyway, after not being able to find his father, Michael Afton goes looking for his sister in the one place that any leads could be.
The rogue AI keeps deleting you, but I saw your rogue AI comment before it went away.
Why does it keep doing it? Stop
I don't
spamming caps.
Gamma Dust suboptimal. Stop spamming caps. He wasn't. Oh, maybe he said I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have some general rules that I have it set to, and I think it's being a little overly sensitive.
Oh, Nightbot learned it by watching you? Nightbot learned it by watching you, alright?
All right, let's keep going.
Michael goes looking for his sister in the one location where there could be any leads, which is Circus Baby's Pizza World, which at this point has been rebranded to Circus Baby's Birthday Rentals. Because they can no longer operate in the facility where a child went missing, you can now rent the robots for your child's birthday.
Great. This is like the Hulk birthday party gone wrong.
Yeah, Michael goes underground into the facility where his sister went missing. Oh.
Get your phone off the table, please. Thank you. All right, so
He gains the trust of Circus Baby, the lead animatronic, and starts trying to help her. He likely realizes pretty quickly that, oh, Circus Baby is also possessed, probably. Circus Baby is the only one of the Funtime animatronics that is actually possessed. I mentioned earlier the other ones should have remnant somewhere in them. That we're going to say that doesn't technically count as possession. They do show consciousness later. Circus Baby's the only possessed one. So Michael, having just had an experience with the classic animatronics being possessed, might recognize that his sister is probably possessing Circus Baby, especially because Circus Baby he knew as a child had blue eyes. The robot had blue eyes. But when he goes down there and he meets the actual Circus Baby now, she has green eyes, much like his sister did. So he might have connected the dots, and he's trying to help her out down there. She's asking him for help to repair the animatronics and helping him not die in return. Little does he know the animatronics have been plotting against him. In secret, during one of his last nights there, the animatronics take themselves out of their casing, just like their endoskeleton and wires, and they fuse together into this robot called Ennard. Oh, what's happening?
I think one of our chat members is in timeout.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I need the
Yeah, here you go.
Do you have a means to remove them from timeout? I'm not sure that you do,
Yep.
based on what I saw.
I can do it if I go to Nightbot. So just keep going.
All right. The animatronics fuse into one and lure Michael back to the very back room of the facility called the scooping room. The scooping room is for exactly that. It's for scooping the robotic parts outside of the animatronic casing, typically for repairs to the casing or redoing the circuitry, I guess. However, they put him on the side of the scooper that employees should not be and make room for themselves so he can be a sort of costume. The animatronics would really like to leave the pizzeria, is what Circus Baby says, and she tells us that they can't do that when they look like this, when they are so obviously robots. So they needed a human down here and in close enough proximity to them that they could wear them as a costume and leave the facility. But soon after they leave, Michael's body starts to rot, obviously because he's now dead. And they realize they can no longer use this. People are getting suspicious, and they flee. They scurry away into the sewers to go find a new host. Michael Afton, potentially because of the remnant in these animatronics, manages to live and kind of possess his own body, and now he's just walking around as a purple zombie. Later games comment on his odor. It's one of the reasons he is fired at one point, that he smells absolutely horrible because he's a zombie. So I don't know how he got through the interview process looking like that, but maybe he put on a Halloween mask?
Maybe. Zombie breath sounds bad.
It does. How's it going?
It's going okay. If you need the mouse, just let me know and you can have it back.
It's fine. Can you press the... Yeah, that works.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, no, it
It's
doesn't.
not
Right
over
that
here.
window.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Okay. The next game is FNAF 3. Again, because 0, 2, 4, 1, 5, 3 makes sense as a combination, right? So, the FNAF 1 location has closed again. Presumably because now nobody's working there, or maybe something else bad happened. Oh, wait, no. It's because the animatronics are now broken. That's what happened. The animatronics are now broken because William took them apart. There is a dead guy in a suit. So that location closes again. Fazbear Entertainment is having a real rough go of it these days. And a long time passes. I I think technically there's a 30-year time skip here. I personally don't understand how Michael wandered around as a zombie for 30 years, but I guess he did, because around the 2020s, Fazbear Entertainment opens up a new location. It's called Fazbear Frights. In an attempt to rebrand, Fazbear Frights is a haunted house attraction, much like what we're going to see at HHN Orlando. Except I think this one will be a little bit less deadly. Here, there is only one animatronic brought in by the staff. This is a robot they found sealed behind the walls in an old Fazbear location. It's a yellow bunny suit that at this point has decayed and is really old and grimy, but they think it fits the vibe of their haunted house very well. And they think it's going to be just a fun little prop. Little do they know, this is a kind of unfortunate family reunion as William Afton, now Springtrap in the suit, realizes that his son is the one working here as the night guard and starts trying to go pay his son a little visit. That doesn't end up going very well because Michael Afton isn't a huge fan of his evil dad, as we would probably expect, and he would like to put an end to his shenanigans and stop this all for good, prevent anybody else from getting hurt, so he burns the location down. I don't know why that was his thought process, but he did it. He burned down Fazbear Frights in hopes that his father would be melted, I guess. Doesn't work. His father escapes. And this is where William Afton's iconic catchphrase, "I always come back," seems to originate, because he's survived bad things happening like twice now. So he feels unstoppable. Nothing can end him. Nothing can stop him from doing what he wants. He basically thinks he's now immortal in his suit. And he's very excited about this. We get a little bit more backstory about his thoughts in the books. We see him a little bit more. We hear him talk as Springtrap. It's really interesting. But yeah, that's FNAF 3. How are we doing?
We're doing okay. Yeah, I tried typing it in, and
Oh, goodness.
it didn't go into the chat, so I tried something else, but let me try one more time.
Oh, it's
It shouldn't be doing anything right now, to be honest with you.
right.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
All right. Can you press?
To be active.
Next in the timeline is Pizzeria Sim. Pizzeria Simulator was released basically without warning, and I don't remember the exact timeline. It maybe was a couple weeks, maybe a couple months after its release. We weren't even sure if this was an actual official FNAF game. A lot of people thought it was just another fan game that was based on the original franchise. I think Scott himself had to come out and confirm, yeah, this is 100%, this is official, I made this. And once people realized that, we started actually analyzing the lore there. The FNAF 6 location seems to have been built by William Afton's business partner, Henry Emily. And it was created under the guise of you could become a Fazbear franchisee, and with help from the Fazbear Entertainment Company, you could make your own restaurant under their name. So Michael Afton, again, goes to a new restaurant. He has at this point learned that his dad is still kicking around, still wandering about, being evil. So he would like to actually stop it this time. And with the help of Henry Emily, begins collecting the remaining animatronics from over the years in his franchise location. He gets them from an alleyway outside of his building. I don't remember if it's ever explained why they are all visiting his restaurant and hanging out in his alleyway, but they're there. He takes them inside, he runs some diagnostics and tests, and then he just lets them hang out, and they try to come get him from the vents during the night. At the end, once he has collected everybody, he's collected Circus Baby, who at this point has been booted from the Ennard body. We learn about this through, I think it was through source code on Scott's website. We read about a conversation between Circus Baby and the other Funtime animatronics. This is where I said they seem to gain consciousness. Oh, there we go.
Yep. Welcome.
Oh, Gamma Dust is back.
Welcome back, Gamma Dust.
Welcome back. Sorry about that. There we go.
You're gonna get
You're
it
gonna
again.
get it again.
Watch it.
Yeah,
It's gonna
wasn't
get
rogue.
you.
It wasn't rogue.
Anyway, Circus Baby has been apparently kicked out of the Ennard body for being too bossy and too controlling, and now the Ennard body is renamed Molten Freddy. If you take a look at their models at a later time, Ennard has a very circus-like face. He's got a little party hat. He looks very humanoid, which represents Circus Baby being the leader of that body. Molten Freddy, which is the version of Ennard after Circus Baby is kicked out, has Freddy's face on it instead, as Funtime Freddy has become the leader of the group again. Welcome back, Freddy Fazbear. He brings in Circus Baby, now Scrap Baby. He brings in Molten Freddy. He brings in his father, Springtrap, now Scrap Trap. They get new names. It's very fun. And Henry Emily devises this contraption called Lefty. It's a bear animatronic meant for one reason and one reason only, and it is to capture his daughter's possessed robot, who is still wandering around, I guess, at this point. Charlotte has still possessed the puppet, and this robot is made to capture it. So we find Lefty in the alleyway, and if you zoom in on the picture, which you'll see in a later date, you can see the puppet's arm through the gaps in Lefty's arm, and the puppet just kind of hangs out. Henry, Emily, and Michael Afton devised this plan to lock down this building and light it on fire too. This time it works, and according to the games, all the souls trapped in the building are freed from their bodies, and they are allowed to pass on, except for William and Golden Freddy's suits. William, in Ultimate Custom Night, which is the only game from his perspective. Hello. We have a visitor. We have a feline visitor now.
Spoof alert.
We do. Hi. Ultimate Custom Night, sometimes called UCN, is what it sounds like. You can customize the horror experience you have in this game with 50 animatronics from the entire franchise with 20 different difficulties. It is very difficult with all of them at 20 mode. Only a couple people have ever completed it. But this is the only game from William Afton's perspective where the spirit of Golden Freddy, a child named Cassidy, who has never... Aww... Kitty appearance.
Spoof alert.
Hi, Kitty. Such a good guy. You're here.
He's not remotely happy to have me holding him.
Where's Nightbot when you need him?
Don't ban my cat.
Papa.
Papa. Hey.
He was grabbing my shirt.
Oh. William Afton is trapped in this sort of purgatory by the spirit that was possessing Golden Freddy, who we learn is a child named Cassidy. Cassidy, much like Mangle, also never has a confirmed gender in the games. We can even see in the voiceover auditions for them that Scott Cawthon was specifically looking for a gender-neutral voice for this little child. We don't even see them very much. They just sometimes have a very small, very pixelated sprite that appears in events smiling down at Afton at the desk as he tries to survive the night, much like the animatronics used to do with the night guards at the previous establishments. And with that, Afton's story as the main antagonist basically comes to an end. They successfully destroyed him, and now he's trapped with Cassidy forever. However, we're not quite free from the Afton family curse, because in Help Wanted, you play in... Help Wanted is set in, I think, the... later in the 2020s, potentially the 2030s, potentially later. Fazbear Entertainment makes a deal with a video game company to rebrand yet again, to try to clear their name of any wrongdoing in the past, and pretend that nothing bad has ever happened at any of their establishments ever. You have all been seeing things and been lied to.
This is the value jet model.
Yeah, exactly. They create a VR experience with the help of this company, and the automated voice during the opening scene, with a picture of Scott Cawthon projected, outright calls Scott a deranged lunatic looking to sully their name, which apparently makes Scott Cawthon a canonical character in his franchise, and potentially means that all the games we've played through are actual games in universe. Which, when Help Wanted first released, meant that people were, for a time, unsure if any of the lore we have been told at all, the entire franchise, was true or not. We're going to assume it is. We're going to assume Game Scott Cawthon wasn't lying to us. And in Help Wanted, you play as a woman named Vanessa, who, Mom, you will recognize that name. Vanessa is a playtester at this video game company and one of the second batch of beta testers, after the first batch abandoned production on the VR game. During her time testing the game, she discovers an anomaly in its code that materializes while testing. It takes the form of a handcrafted yellow rabbit suit. It's not the exact same Spring Bonnie suit that we see from Fredbear's Family Diner. It seems to be a kind of fursuit, if you're familiar with those, recreation of it, kind of patched together by hand. It's very creepy. I personally think that this rabbit, known as in the community as Glitch Trap, is one of the most terrifying things the company has ever produced.
Why is it called Glitch Trap?
Because it is Springtrap that is a glitch in the software.
Okay.
So Glitch Trap is where we get the name. I don't think it's ever actually referred to with a name in the game, aside from maybe malware. But I think that's just them calling it malware because that's what it is.
It's a portmanteau.
Okay. All right, got it.
This rabbit waves at her from down dark hallways and peers in the windows while she's playing through the mini games, and she's obviously very frightened by this. Mm-hmm. She also begins to find these glitching logs shaped like tapes scattered throughout the game and begins to collect them and listen to them. These tapes were made by another woman who was part of the first batch of beta testers, who's also never given an actual name. The fandom calls her Tape Girl. So we'll call her Tape Girl. Tape Girl says that Tape Girl also talks about this strange anomaly that she's seeing, and it's getting closer to her, and it's messing with the game files, and she's trying to figure out how to delete it, because clearly it's causing issues, and it needs to be deleted at any cost. On the 15th of 16 tapes, she tells us that the malware has attached itself to her audio logs, and we must never put them together under any circumstance, which at this point is unhelpful, because we have 15 out of 16. We are missing one. So he's already basically materialized. He's fully put back together again. Tape Girl, why?
Wait, where are we chronologically now? Are we in the 2030s?
So, yes.
And they're just referring to them as tapes?
Yes. We've still got an 80s vibe going on. It's just the 2030s.
Okay.
the 80s lasts for as long as you want it to last.
Well, I mean, think of it this
Oh my
way.
God.
Like, vinyl came back.
yeah, sure.
So who knows what could happen by 2030.
You know what hasn't come back?
And to
What?
be fair,
Tapes.
and to be fair, they're only represented as tapes in the game. They're only referred to as logs by the creator. So I don't know. Maybe Tape Girl just really likes tapes, and so she made them look like that in the game. I don't know.
All right.
But she warns whoever is listening to the tapes that, that the anomaly is dangerous, it must be destroyed, and you cannot put her tapes together or else it will materialize. We're missing one tape at this point, so that is still unhelpful. In the final tape, after establishing that she has no idea how you would actually kill it, she changes her mind and she says there is a way to kill it. I know exactly how you would do it, and she provides detailed instructions for whoever is listening to follow, which begs the question, if you know how to do it, why didn't you do it? So Vanessa, following Tape Girl's instructions, deletes Glitch Trap, is what we think we're doing. But the only thing that happens when you successfully complete those instructions is you get a new cutscene where you are behind a prison door with handprints on it, and Glitch Trap opens the sliding door, whispers telling you to be quiet, and scampers off into the dark. We don't get much more elaboration on what this means until the DLC for Help Wanted released, Curse of Dreadbear.
What's the DLC?
Downloadable content. It's
Oh.
extra content that you can buy. The Curse of Dreadbear was added as a Halloween update. But the secret ending in Curse of Dread...
It
What?
drives me. Downloadable is one word,
I don't know,
but
man.
it got two letters.
I didn't decide this.
I know.
But anyway, in the secret ending for A Curse of Dreadbear, you get an item that is a white rabbit mask with brown spots on it. If you take this back to the main layout of the game, back to the non-DLC content, and you pick up a plush version of Glitch Trap you get for completing the game as a collectible, you get to hear half of a conversation where we hear Vanessa talking to herself about how yes, she's made it. Yes, she's picked somebody. Yes, she thinks you would like the mask she made. And after scrounging around on Scott's website again, we find the other side of the conversation. And what has happened in Help Wanted is that the malware has somehow removed itself from the game and put itself in Vanessa's brain and is manipulating or brainwashing her into becoming a sort of copycat of William Afton. And she continues the evil schemes into the next game before being promptly forgotten as an antagonist and thrown away. Which made me very sad because I really liked her. But with that, that's the game timeline.
All right, everybody got that? 'Cause there's going to be a quiz at the end of the live stream.
Yes, there's
Clear
a movie.
as mud.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next?
Next is obviously much of the game's timeline does not line up with what we see in the movie. For starters,
So, time out. So, the entire point of this live stream is to prepare our family for going to Halloween Horror Nights and being able to walk through the FNAF house without Peanut being the only one who knows what's going on. So, now that we've hit the movie portion of the live stream, what I want to say is I have a little bit of information as to why this is really important. Okay?
all right, yeah,
So,
go ahead.
there are some things that Universal has already talked about for the FNAF house. So, guests are going to walk through iconic locations from Five Nights at Freddy's. These locations are going to include the showroom,
Which I'm pumped for.
the kitchen, the janitor's closet,
I'm also pumped for.
and a one-for-one replica security office. So, keep that in
So
mind.
excited for this.
Okay.
I'm just excited for the whole thing.
The story thread is going to include the ghost kids and the guys who broke in, which ties to the movie plot.
Yes.
And that's why I'm bringing this up before we start talking about what happens in the movies. All right. The creative team has described it as faithful to source materials, it being the haunted house,
Yes.
with familiar Easter eggs for longtime fans, which is why, even though a lot of the haunted house is going to focus on the movie and not the game, from what we can tell,
Yes.
it was so important to go through that whole description
That whole
of the
spiel.
game, because there's gonna be Easter eggs in the haunted house
Yes.
for longtime fans. And so what would those Easter eggs come from? It would come from
The games.
the games.
And like I mentioned earlier, while the books have a different timeline and the movie has a different timeline, the games are still the baseline of the story. They are where everything started. The books and the movies branch off in what we consider alternate timelines or alternate universes from the main games, but the game plot is the core that it all relies on.
Yep. All right. So let's get into the movie.
All right. Obviously, a lot of the game's story did not entirely line up with the movie. For starters, Mike Schmidt in the movie, while Mike Schmidt is the same alias Michael Afton uses, he is clearly not William Afton's son. Instead, that role is taken up by Vanessa, the police officer, who is obviously not a video game tester. She's a police officer. She seems to have no knowledge that, or no relation to Help Wanted in any way. She seems instead much like Vanessa in the games. It seems like Vanessa in the games, I do think that she is sort of manipulated or brainwashed. One second. There's a couple lines in the movie, specifically one by Mike, where he says, "He really messed you up, didn't he?" That I think implies she's probably had a pretty rough childhood and has probably been used more as a tool by her father than a child, which would also potentially tie into the manipulation Glitch Trap does with Vanessa in the games.
So I have a huge problem with Vanessa in the movie. I feel she's an extraordinarily problematic character.
Yeah.
Like, really problematic, because she's very complacent in the activities of her father. And so, yeah. So, and not only is she complacent in the horrific activities of her father, but then she's a police officer who is complacent in the horrific activities of, like, it just, and she's, I felt, kind of written in a very sympathetic way where you're supposed to like her in the movie. And that was problematic for me, too. So, like...
What was problematic for me is she was sort of written, at least in part, as a love interest or a potential love interest.
I hope it doesn't go that way.
But dude's a loser. Like, I don't understand. But, like...
Yeah. I think a lot of... I totally agree with a lot of the issues about Vanessa's character. I think they will be more... I think her personality and character and backstory will be more well established in the second movie.
But doesn't she die?
No.
Oh, that's right.
No spoilers.
She gets...
No spoilers, anyway.
She's alive.
No, this is going to be spoilers, because we're preparing for HHN. If you haven't watched the movie, sorry. But, yeah, if you haven't watched the movie and you don't want spoilers, like, sorry.
To be fair, he wasn't a total loser. He did have the, like, sympathetic, caring for his younger sister, good big brother vibe going for him.
I
He's
think
sympathetic in that way.
Oh, okay, got it. So we can't spoil that much.
Yeah, so Gamma Dust hasn't seen the movie yet. Sorry, we're gonna talk about it in depth.
I'll be vague. I don't think I have any super spoilery stuff.
Okay, so there is a security guard in the games.
Yes.
And so this gentleman's character in the movie
is based off the guy in the
closely
games.
mirrors what you would see of this character in the game.
Mm-hmm.
However,
he does not appear to be the same guy.
The name is confusing.
Yeah. In the games, it's Michael Afton, who uses the alias Mike Schmidt. In the movie, his name is just Mike Schmidt. He does not have an alias. It would be funny if his alias was Michael Afton.
So, like, here's the next question I have. And I don't know if we're going to be able to answer it directly without me starting to visit Google again. But why was that choice made to name him the same name as another character that he's not playing?
I'm not sure. There is some people, I'll talk about this a little bit more later. Some people theorize that maybe there will be a plot twist where potentially he is, but we don't know. It could also be an Easter egg for fans who would recognize the name Mike Schmidt.
That's what I think, just so people can be like whispering each other's ears in the
And
theater.
to be fair, names are reused frequently throughout Five Nights at Freddy's. At this point, we have like 5 different Jeremys, and Jeremy is the name of one of the original missing children that possesses Bonnie. I'll talk about them in a second. We got like 5 other Jeremys. As you remember, one of the night guards was Jeremy Fitzgerald. Obviously, that's not the Jeremy that possessed Bonnie. That Jeremy was a child, and this one can work as a night guard. So, names get repeated. It could just be an Easter egg. It could just be Scott choosing to reuse names.
Yeah, so this is interesting because on Reddit, somebody does ask something I've been thinking about. In the beginning, when Michael is in Afton's office asking for a job, Afton reads his name and pauses as if Michael Schmidt is a name he recognizes.
Exactly. Yeah, there's also that part.
He stops and looks at Mike closely and then offers him the security guard gig.
Careful. Well, just like remember.
Well,
Yeah. This
it's
part's in the
security
trailers though.
why do you think he pauses? What does Mike's name spark up in Afton's mind? And the first best comment is, I think it's meant to imply that he remembers him from Garrett.
He might.
So Garrett is the younger brother that's abducted. Either that or they're trying to imply him being an Afton and planting that seed now to use in a sequel. I'm leaning more towards the former.
Yeah. I think it's kind of up in the air at this point.
But everybody else in the thread is saying they think it's because of Garrett.
Continuing. It's not the first time like I mentioned earlier, it's not the first time the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise has had differences in continuity, has struggled with continuity between medias. The majority of the Five Nights at Freddy's books, of which there are many at this point. Oh, oops. Of which there are many at this point. Of which there are many at this point.
Have you read all these?
I've read most of these. I read these.
That's a weird bird.
I read 3, 4, 4, and 5 aren't on here. I don't think I got here. I think I read this, though. I've read most of these. Anyway. The majority of the books do not line up whatsoever with the games, and some of them don't even really line up with each other.
I've noticed that we have some additional viewers. Just another warning, because it's been brought up in the chat. We're going to talk about the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, just be prepared. There will be spoilers.
Yes.
The book, well, so the books came after. The books almost seem like they might have been a cash grab to cash in on the popularity without being well connected.
These ones, the trilogy, the Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones, and the Fourth Closet, Scott has said that he wanted to explore an alternate timeline, an alternate universe, other possibilities for the franchise. These mean that these are also the books that Charlie Emily is from. So this is where she's from. She finds out she's a robot in this one.
Sounds like a ruse to sell books, but okay.
I mean, maybe, but like, maybe he just likes his franchise.
That's fine.
Anyway.
So, are you going to go into detail with the plot of the movie, or are we just going to talk about it as we talk about it?
I can go into detail, but
Well,
I don't have
just
to.
I
Let's let her
have
do it.
I have questions and comments, and I don't want to drop them in and disrupt some of what you have set up. For
We
us.
can definitely talk about the movie.
Okay.
I have for Game and Dust, I have read some of the comics. I haven't read all of them, but I think most of the graphic novel versions are roughly similar to the books they're based on, and I've read the books already. I did read, I think, the graphic novel for The Silver Eyes.
So, do the books tie in at all with what we see for a plot in the movie?
Yes, actually. Okay, this is a spoiler for the movie.
Okay.
So I guess cover your ears.
If you don't want to.
Headphones.
If you don't want, give me like 5 minutes. So in the
All right. I'm
Being
getting comfortable.
okay.
Coffee.
Well, I figured we would talk about this. So
Do you want a Celsius? I've got like 2 of them over here.
in the books, I think it's the Twisted Ones that this is established. William Afton has a moment. Yeah, it's the Twisted Ones. William Afton has a moment where he talks with one of the main characters. I think it's Jessica and John, I think he talks to, where he shows them how he can use drawings to influence the spirits possessing the robots, which you might remember from that ending scene in the movie where after having been set up by that school counselor talking about sorry.
We know she's not going to see the movie anyway, so.
Where after talking about, the school counselor brings up that pictures are very important for children, which ties back to William Afton using them to influence the kids in the books, which we also see him do in the movies. That seems to be part of the reason the animatronics act the way they do, is they're kind of obeying the drawings William has made.
So I have a question. Like with the books and the comics, do you feel that they're being used to fill in gaps in information on the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's? Do you think that they're used to filling gaps in between the games? Or are they kind of just another like way of just exploring the characters?
All three.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all three of those at different points. It, like I said, it really depends on what book it is. Some of the books seem tied into the games, some seem completely separated, some seem to be removed from even the other books in the same story. Even these books, these Fazbear Fright books, oh goodness. These Fazbear Fright books are, think the Goosebumps books, where they have multiple horror stories in them. Each Fazbear Fright book has 3 short stories in it, and some of these short stories are entirely removed from each other. So it's really case by case, typically. But yeah, they fill all 3 roles, I think.
Okay. All right.
Oh my, 1 second. Okay. Anyway. So, I think the game timeline, while it is a very important thing to know, it's a very important basis, you need to have a rough understanding of it to catch certain references and certain Easter eggs. It's not going to be that important.
Yeah, and just for new viewers coming online, so the sticky notes that you see on the crazy wall are referring to the various FNAF games.
Yes. We go from before any of the games to FNAF 2, to FNAF 4, to FNAF 1, to Sister Location, to 3, to Pizzeria Sim, to UCN, and then Help Wanted.
Right, and so what we had already covered is not the chronological order of which the games were released.
Which we did cover at the very beginning.
Right, but how the story kind of flows
Yes.
through the games itself, and now we're comparing that to the movie.
Yes. So
Okay.
while the games, I think, are very important as a baseline understanding to catch Easter eggs, if you don't know the lore in depth, you'll be fine in the movie or the house. Like, rough story beats is nice, but don't feel like you have to understand all 11 years at this point worth of content to be able to go into that house. You could probably, Universal is very good about this. You could probably go into the house knowing almost nothing, and the only things I assume you'll be missing is the tidbits for fans. You might be a bit confused on why these robots are moving, but Universal, I think, will be good about catering it to both audiences.
Yeah, and when we think of, what iconic locations have been hinted at that are going to be in the haunted house,
Yes.
the showroom, the kitchen, the janitor's closet, and a one-for-one replica of the security office, I think the only thing I don't recall in the movie is the kitchen.
Yes, the kitchen happens during the break-in scene with the
That's
cupcake,
right,
you
that's
remember?
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The kitchen is actually something that was very exciting to see in the movie, and that I'm really excited to walk through in the house, because in FNAF 1, the location that the movie seems to be mostly based off of, the kitchen camera doesn't work. You don't get to see inside there. You can only hear Chica moving around.
Yeah.
But until the movie, we had no idea what it looked like.
I'm disappointed that I didn't remember that, because that whole cupcake scene was my favorite part of the movie.
You love
and
Carl.
I can't believe that I forgot that it's in the kitchen where that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
Carl's my favorite. We have a question here. Unrelated FNAF question. Did Peanut draw that peanut can picture, the avatar?
I did draw the peanut can picture.
Yes.
I love drawing, so I made that one. Oh, the cat's back.
Yep. Poof
Come
alert.
back, Katie.
Okay. So, all right.
All right. Anyway, I think the movies are likely an alternate timeline, an alternate universe. However, I should call out that before the movie came out and during its early days, I'm not entirely sure if this theory still prevails. Some people think that Abby is potentially a stand-in for Elizabeth Afton. Some people think that, as we mentioned earlier, Mike Schmidt is potentially a stand-in for Michael Afton. But with only one movie out, we simply don't know.
Michael Afton.
Yes.
I was getting confused and thinking, well, that's the bad guy, but
Yes.
this is the son of the
Yes.
bad guy.
Michael Afton, yeah.
Michael Afton.
It gets
All right.
very confusing. There are some consistencies that the movie has. Oh, I will expect, such as I do expect, from what we see of the FNAF 2 movie trailer, it does seem like the puppet might be just as relevant and just as important to the movie story as she is in the games.
When does the movie come out?
It comes out in December. It's like December
Okay,
2nd
all
or
right.
something.
I'm curious now, because the movie's not going to be released before HHN.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's going to be any Easter eggs for the second movie
I mentioned
in
that.
the haunted house or not.
I have a section coming up on what I expect to be in the house. Some of it has already been confirmed that I didn't know was confirmed. I am excited to see if maybe we'll get some little hints as to what the second movie may be about. I do expect the puppet seems to be just as important in that movie as she is in the games. Some people think that one of the children we see in that trailer might be Charlotte, and potentially we might see her. I personally have hopes that we'll get to see Charlie Emily. She's my absolute favorite character. I loved her in the books. Oh yeah, I love her. Right. I love her. I want to see Charlie. I also think that another consistency in the movie is probably the names of the children, which I assume, based on Cassidy here, I assume is consistent with the games, that it is Gabriel as Freddy, Jeremy as Bonnie, Susie as Chica, Fritz as Foxy, and Cassidy obviously as Golden Freddy.
All right, we got to stop.
Yes.
I have to ask the big question.
Yes.
Is this a good time to ask it?
Ask the big question.
So, for everybody watching, my biggest struggle with the movie and what I understand of FNAF, are the animatronics evil or not? They're very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're really nice to the little girl,
Mhm.
and they seem protective of her. They're okay with Vanessa, the police cop, but are they trying to kill him, the security guard? I can't, like, I don't get it. Like, are they evil or are they not evil?
I think one, it's kind of up to interpretation. I personally believe that the animatronics, no, of course they're not evil. These are robots that are possessed by the souls of traumatized little kids. And in the games, the only reason the animatronics ever attack you is because either in FNAF 2, their security sensors are messed up and and the non-sentient toy animatronics think you're a danger, or it's the FNAF 1 animatronics that think you are William Afton. They think you're going to hurt them, and they're trying to stop you from doing that. In the movie, we see them acting largely as kids, and it is very consistent with the games that they are very friendly with the little girl. In FNAF 2, we even hear from the phone guy that, again, explains what you do in each game. He mentions that the toy animatronics are totally good and normal with the children, but they stare at the adults for long periods of time that's unusual after the tampering.
You know what's interesting? As I'm listening to you talk, is if you think about it, and I don't know if Scott was intentional in this, it actually makes sense the way the animatronics act if they're being possessed by the souls of children. Because children are inconsistent in their moods and in the way they emotionally act. You can get a kid being really, really sweet one moment and then pushes his sibling down on the ground in the next moment. You know what I mean? There's that inconsistency in behavior. And the animatronics act exactly like that.
And even remember in the books, William Afton uses these drawings that apparently can mystically influence what the children think is happening to completely change who they think they're helping. In the books, he draws pictures for them of the yellow bunny being nice to them and helping them, and so they forget that the yellow bunny is the reason that they're trapped in the first place. So I don't think that they are actually evil. I think they're confused and sometimes manipulated, and I think above all they're scared. Because these are the souls of little kids that were lured into a back room by an animatronic that they loved and thought was going to give them a birthday cake, and then ended up stuck in a robot for the next anywhere between 10 and 30 years.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'm still confused on is the difference between Freddy and Golden Freddy.
Basically, Golden Freddy is a renamed version of the Fredbear suit.
Okay.
It's actually unclear how Cassidy came to possess that suit. There's a story in the books, I forget exactly what the kid's name is, that has a bunch of kids wandering around and they see a body in that suit, but it's never really explicitly explained how Cassidy came to be. The only thing we know about Cassidy specifically is that in Ultimate Custom Night, they are called the one you should not have killed.
So are all these children in the movie consistent with who the children are of the animatronics in the games and the books?
Honestly, we don't see much of them in the games. We only really know them through the animatronics. We do know that in Ultimate Custom Night, we do know that Susie is a blonde little girl, so that's consistent. Though in the games she has short curly hair, but she's still blonde. But we don't actually see the appearances for most of the kids. These appearances are fairly consistent with fan interpretations of the characters, though.
Okay. Because what I was surprised about watching the movie is I would have assumed Garrett would have been one of these kids.
Yeah.
A couple questions from Gamma Dust.
Oh, okay. Have you played all the FNAF games?
I have played every FNAF game except for FNAF 3, purely because I just don't love the gameplay of that one. I like the ones where you're managing all of the animatronics and not just luring one of them with audio cues. I just didn't find that very enjoyable. But gameplay-wise, Freddy and Golden Freddy are very different. Freddy is one of the animatronics that makes his way to your office and can jump scare you. Golden Freddy appears as a Easter egg, like I've mentioned before. He'll sometimes show up in your office if certain conditions are met, and you would have to flip up the camera screen to get rid of him, or else he would crash your game. There are some times where there's there's a secret sixth night in every game that is a custom night where you get to manage how many of the animatronics come for you at what difficulty. And sometimes if you put in a specific code in that, he would show up and crash your game. Golden Freddy's kind of an elusive figure.
Okay. And I will also say, since we are talking about these kids right now, and we have some new viewers since the last time I mentioned it, one of the hints that we've gotten from Universal is that the story thread for the HHN Haunted House this year of FNAF will include the ghost kids.
Yes. So I expect we will see more of them
Yeah.
soon. And it does seem like with Universal, they have been giving these kids more character than they have ever been given in the past. For the most part, the only characterization we ever got of them was after they were already put in the animatronics. Again, the only exception to that is Susie, who we learn had a dog, and that's how William lured her to the back room. She had a dog that ran away, and we see her crying in the back room because she's sad about her dog.
I really dislike William.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like William. William is kind of a bad guy.
Yeah.
I think that is most of what I wanted to cover for the movie. If you have anything else.
I don't think so.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, actually, no.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, I do. So another thing that they've hinted at is, in addition to the ghost kids being at HHN, the guys who broke in in the movie will also be covered. Now, those individuals don't appear in any of the games, right?
They don't.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked if one of the many closed down Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria locations has had break-ins in the past. But they're not seen in the games. I don't think they're seen in the books. Oh, actually, there is one book where a group of teenagers go to investigate an old Freddy Fazbear location. So that has been pre-established as something people do.
Okay. All right, great. All right, moving on.
All
What
right.
do you got for us next?
What I think, I made this prior to knowing a lot of stuff, so some of this has already been confirmed, but I wanted to make a little list of things that I think will be in the house or that I hope will be in the house. Obviously, the most obvious one, and the one that was confirmed first, was the security office. There was no way they were going to exclude that ever. That was 100% a given.
It's basically the main scene in the movie.
It's the main scene for the majority of the
Or
games.
main setting, rather.
Yeah. For the first 3 games, the security office, while it is different security offices, is your only thing that you see. It's not until FNAF 4 that we get the new setting of the bedroom, and it's not until FNAF 5's sister location where we get to actually move around the space.
We have another question from the chat. If I wanted to get into the games, would you recommend a specific one to get into that has great gameplay and story, and you don't need a ton of prior knowledge?
I think Sister Location is my personal favorite game. I think you can go into it pretty blind. Sister Location is really the one that started to solidify the lore, so you don't need to know a whole lot going into it. In fact, we didn't even know William Afton's name until Sister Location came out, where we got his last name, and then we got his first name from the books. So Sister Location is probably a good one to start. It's very fun. It has very good characters. You can go into it with not a lot of knowledge. It has fun jokes. We have a bunch of Easter eggs from it I'll talk about in a little bit. That one's my favorite. I think if I was going to recommend one that you should not do without prior lore knowledge is probably Ultimate Custom Night. That one is very complicated and has a lot of tiny references in the cutscenes when you die and the voice lines when you die that is going to be confusing if you don't have a whole lot of prior knowledge. But Sister Location is a great one to start. Obviously, the first game is still really solid. A lot of people love FNAF 2 as well. So I think one of those three is a good place. Next, this one was also confirmed. I was hopeful that we would get a janitor's closet scene, and it seems like we will. I was really excited about this possibility, mainly because this room is where we first got the first crumbs of lore. Sometimes when you looked at it, there would be these posters and these newspapers that told you just bits and pieces of what was happening. And I was really hopeful that we would get to see the place that started the story in the house. So I'm really excited that we get to see that. I also thought this has also been confirmed. I was hoping to see a stage room, which now we know is coming.
Yep, the showroom will be there.
Which I am so pumped for. There's really only been a couple instances where we have gotten to stand in front of the stage, the main one being Help Wanted, but Help Wanted was supposed to implement a Showtime feature where you would press a button and then a mini cutscene would play, where the curtains would open and the animatronics on stage would sing you a little song, and that just got never implemented into the game. People were able to find the whole cutscene in the files, but there's never been a way to trigger it. So I'm hopeful that we will finally get a scene like that.
You think when you enter the house that the stage room should be like one of the first things, or more like the last thing?
I could see it being the first. I could see it being either one. I am just so excited to see it either way.
Yeah, and
I think it would be a great introduction.
Just as a reminder, Universal has stated that the fully animated Freddy Fazbear that will be at HHN is the most complicated animatronic figure in HHN history.
Which
I'm
sounds
very
so
curious
exciting.
as to what they mean by the most complicated.
Me too. There are some
Well, how
really...
many animatronics have there really been at HHN?
Well, there were some really cool ones last year. If you remember the Monsters of Latin America house, where there's one part where you walk into a room and there's that giant like bird woman that was screeching. There was that
Was that an animatronic or was it a person?
It was an animatronic. It was giant. There is also an animatronic in the Goblin's Feast house.
Yeah, the giant goblin.
There's actually two in that one. There's the giant goblin, and then there was a slightly smaller but still really giant goblin in a offshoot room that you couldn't walk into, but it would turn and like growl at you, and it was eating its food. So there's definitely been some animatronics. I'm really excited to see what they come up with for the Freddy one, especially because they made actual animatronics for the movie. I think the Foxy suit in that, most of the animatronics in the movie, they had an animatronic version and a suit version. I think Foxy is the only one that is purely an animatronic. I don't think they had a suit version purely because of his legs. If you notice, they're like, it's the endoskeleton is exposed, and you can't fit a human into like a 4 centimeter long tube. Next up, I hope that there's going to be a William Afton appearance one way or another. Maybe it'll be somebody painted in the classic purple. Maybe we'll get to see Springtrap or Spring Bonnie. Or maybe we'll see somebody styled like Matthew Lillard in the movie.
I could see having a scare actor dressed like him easy enough.
Yes.
I have to say, I was so excited that Matthew Lillard, how do you say it?
Lillard.
Lillard. I always forget his last name. Because, like, that's our guy. Like, that's, like, our generation. Like, that's Scream, man. And he was brilliant in Scream. He was my favorite actor in that movie because he just made it so fun. And he was in this, and there was something else we saw him in recently.
Oh.
Was it one of the Friday the 13th movies?
It might have
I
been.
think it was, yeah.
I don't know. I gotta look up his, and see what he was in.
Why don't you go to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You don't have to wait for me.
Scream and Scooby-Doo is what Game of Death says. I also have a secret personal little hope that maybe we'll get to see the costumes from the movie. we know that Jim Henson Studios is making the Freddy animatronic for this house. Jim Henson Studios also made the costumes and the animatronics for the movie.
He was in The Life of Chuck.
Oh. And Universal clearly has a very good relationship with Blumhouse, especially as of late. And Blumhouse made the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so my secret hope is that we get to see these costumes utilized. Maybe they got their hands on them for this house, or maybe they'll be displayed somewhere. I just really would like to see them. They make me very happy. I also hope that maybe we'll get to see get to hear some more Five Nights at Freddy's fan songs. The credits song at the
Wait, time out. What are you talking about?
FNAF fan songs.
Fans
fan-
write songs?
Fan
about...
music. Yeah. There's so much fan music.
Is there?
Yes.
But what's the picture?
That's
is
the-
is that
that's-
a cold plunge? Because those were
No.
funny.
That's the music box from FNAF 2.
Oh, it's a music box.
That's
Okay.
the puppet comes out of that.
Of course.
You gotta play the lullaby or the puppet comes to get you.
So there's fan music.
There's a lot of fan music, and a lot of it is really good. In fact, the credits song in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is a fan song.
Oh, really?
It was made over 10 years ago when the game first released.
That's cool.
It was made by it was made by the Living Tombstone. So I have hopes that we'll get to hear more FNAF music.
No, she's not. She's going back to school in 3 weeks.
I hope that we'll get to see more, that we'll get to hear more FNAF music, because again, a lot of it's really good, and it would make me very happy. So it would be very nostalgic for me. I, in fact, made a whole FNAF music playlist last night because I wanted to...
Because of course you did.
Yeah, I wanted to brush off my rust on all those songs.
We should listen to it as a family on our trip to Orlando.
We should do one of those. You know how they have like the TikToks of people, like young people listening to older music and hearing it for the first time? We could do it like that.
Okay. All right.
I also think a more obscure scene that we may or may not see in the house is the graveyard scene. This also happens in Ultimate Custom Night. It's one of the cutscenes. After the night is over, you get a flash of this graveyard, and this is where we initially learned of all the kids' names, where we learned of Freddy, nope, that's not right, that's the animatronic, where we learned of Gabriel, Jeremy, Fritz, and Susie, and then the 2 mystery graves being Cassidy and Charlotte. So I hope that maybe there'll be something that alludes to that. Maybe it could be kind of like the entrance to that Monsters and Lineage house from last year. I do think this is a long shot.
This is bothering me. Like, why did they name the kid in the movie Garrett? Like, why didn't they pick Cassidy?
Some people theorize that, oh wait, no, that can't work, because we know Cassidy is here in the movie. Never mind. Some people thought that Garrett might be Golden Freddy, but Cassidy is here, and Cassidy is Golden Freddy. Like Cassidy always has been. I'm not really sure about that one, honestly. I'm sure there's going to be more relevance to Garrett. Some people think maybe Garrett will be the puppet, which I think would be a cool plot, but I would be heartbroken to lose Charlotte. I love Charlotte, and I love Charlie, and I love the puppet, and I would be very sad if they remove her.
So I just searched and ended up on Reddit once again, and there's a debate going on there because somebody asked, like, who does Garrett possess in the movie? And the first theory is Mr. Cupcake, and then Balloon Boy is another theory.
Oh, that's a potential.
Or the puppet. And apparently, from what I can see in the comments, a lot of people are very upset that anyone would allude to it being the puppet that Garrett possesses.
The puppet has been, for a very long time, Charlotte. That is Charlotte's animatronic.
Yes, I can clearly see that Reddit is not happy at somebody trying to erase Charlotte from
Yes.
the lore.
She was a very integral character in the cutscene. She's first in the cutscene the puppet is first introduced in. The puppet gives gifts, gives life. So she's just a very integral character. I could see them potentially replacing her with Garrett, but I also think it's important that they state that the missing children's incident that lets the kids possess the robots in the first place seems to happen way before Garrett's.
Okay. So I have a question that I don't think we're going to be able to answer about the house, the HHN house. But before I ask it, do you want to get to the last one?
Yes. I also think there's just a lot of room for them to experiment. I think there's a lot of room for them to experiment and do their own thing and potentially add hints to the upcoming movie. I think they have a lot of room here, mainly because this is definitely mostly based on the movies, and we only have one of those. So I'm excited to see what they might do that is removed from the games. I'm excited to see what they're going to do that is similar to the games. I think that they have I think this house has a lot of potential.
Yeah, so like for me, my big question about the haunted house, well, not my big question, but one of my questions is Garrett going to play a role in the haunted house at HHN? Because to me, he's a catalyst for the protagonist.
He is, yeah.
In the movie, but aside from that, like,
I think it'll mainly depend on if the producers decide to lump him in with the rest of the Ghost Kids. I think that's really the only question is he going to join the core 5?
Well, do we even know that he is a ghost kid?
He might not be. What if Garrett isn't? What if he survived? What if he's out there somehow?
Well, even if he
if he just
didn't
kidnapped.
survive, that doesn't necessarily mean he's linked to one of these animatronics.
And that's a good point, actually, because the missing children's incident isn't the only time William has done one of these things. Something else similar happened at the FNAF 2 location, but those animatronics aren't possessed. Those animatronics are just malfunctioning because of their security system being tampered with.
This is a puzzle.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where the movies go and where the house goes.
All right.
I'm going to take my leave at this point.
Okay.
All right.
So, if everybody can just give us a break for 1 second, can I have the mouse?
Yeah, here we go.
We're going to be back in like 60 seconds, but Dustin is going to leave, so I'm just going to move a chair around. So just hang in there a second. All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Dustin's getting a little sleepy, so he's gonna depart, but that's okay because we are about to start talking about potential Easter eggs.
And before I start with that, I did want to address GamerDust asks if there is an evil corporation in the FNAF world that wants to take advantage of these robotic AIs, and I think it is a potential for a future plot. However, at least from what we've seen in the games and what I remember from the books is it seems like most corporations, even Fazbear Entertainment themselves, seems to more sweep the robots under the rug and completely ignore the fact that they're possessed in the first place. In fact, I think the only person that ever tries to take advantage of that is William Afton himself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
Anyway,
some
potential Easter eggs I do want to tell you about in case they happen to show up inside the house include oops.
Wrong screen.
Include the Endo O2 that sometimes appears in the prize corner in FNAF 2. He just shows up on the camera, he hangs out. Sometimes he'll go into your vents. It's creepy, he's weird. Potentially Shadow Bonnie, who also appears in FNAF 2. He likes to linger in the corner of your office. We don't really know what his deal is. He kind of just hangs out. I think he might be similar to Golden Freddy in if you look at him too long, your game crashes. Mm-hmm. There is also Sparky the dog, who is referenced in the movie. Sparky the dog was a fake animatronic rumored to be found in FNAF 1 and was originally created by Tumblr users Kodia Bear and Ngayen, who made his way into the movie, and he was a hoax for a long time. A lot of people thought he actually existed, and he didn't. There is JJ, who is a recolored version of Balloon Boy, and a female version, so she is, instead of blue and red, she is blue, purple, and pink. She appears, or there's Dee Dee, who is, I think, purple and yellow, who is in Ultimate Custom Night and is really annoying. There is Shadow Freddy, who appears off in the corner of your office during FNAF 3. I don't think Shadow Freddy does anything. I think he just hangs out. For a while, people didn't even realize that this was Shadow Freddy. We thought that it was just a weird recolored golden Freddy. Mm-hmm. But if you turn up the image, he's not yellow. He's black and purple, much like Shadow Bonnie is. There is potentially the fictional cartoon Fredbear and Friends that the Crying Child watches, and initially gives us the clue that the Crying Child's cutscenes are set in 1983. Potentially somebody being inside a Springlock suit or helping somebody else into a Springlock suit. This is a scene in FNAF 4 from one of the cutscenes where we see William Afton, shrouded in purple shadows, helping a coworker into the Spring Bonnie suit as another person stands outside in the Fredbear costume. Potentially some characters from the Custom Night of Sister Location, which had its own unique cast, including Lolbit here, maybe Yendo, or maybe the Mini Renas and Biddy Babs.
I can't believe how many characters there are.
There's so many. There was 50 in Ultimate Custom Night, and that was excluding some of them. Or, as I mentioned earlier, Lefty might make an appearance. If you look here, this is where you can see the puppet's arm inside of the Lefty suit. This is the box from FNAF 4, which at the end of the game rattles and shakes mysteriously and has this text. Sometimes, perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now. People theorized so much about this box and what could potentially be in it, only for it to never return after this. Then there is Eggs Benedict and Exotic Butters.
Oh, time out. We have to talk about this because this goes into some of the additional things that I researched.
Oh, does it?
It totally does because, on the HHN subreddit, as well as a variety of other subreddits relating to FNAF, people have been speculating not only about what's going to be in the HHN house, but other things that we might see, like merch, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point, but also food and drink.
Oh, yes.
And people were speculating as to whether or not Universal is going to try to tie FNAF into some of the food options that'll be at the parks. Pizza is an obvious tie-in.
Considering it's a pizzeria.
But people also were trying to predict whether or not there would be giant Chica cupcake desserts.
Based off her little cupcake
Well,
friend?
that got me confused because I was like, no, Carl is the cupcake.
I think what people are trying to get at with that wording is it's Chica's possessive cupcake. Because Carl typically sits on a plate in Chica's hand. That is how he is portrayed most of the time.
Is he like her pet?
I guess.
Okay.
If you remember earlier, I mentioned Susie has a dog. Some people theorized for a while that the dog possessed the cupcake, potentially. And that's why Susie carries the cupcake around, because that is her pet from when she was alive. We don't get a whole lot of clues on Carl in the game. Carl isn't even his actual name. It's a fan-in name.
I love Carl.
Carl is great.
Carl's my favorite. I hope there's merch of Carl, because I will buy that.
And then, oh, sorry.
And then other people on this same thread were talking about how exotic butters needs to be one of the treats served at HHN this year. And I cannot fathom how butter on its own would just be something you would serve to people.
Yeah.
And I also like exotic, like
how would it be exotic butter?
Kerrygold, is that considered exotic butter? Because like I don't know. Like
I should explain Eggs Benedict first, because in Sister Location, you're provided with this hand unit. And a hand unit gives you a variety of choices throughout the game. He asks you, like, what would you like your automated helper voice to be? Would you like it to be the normal assistant voice? Would you like it to be an angsty teen? Would you like... And then at the very start of the game, he asks, what is your name? Please type your name into the hand unit. But the whole joke with hand unit is that its keyboard is broken. It is constantly glitching, and no matter how hard you try, you can never put in the right letters that you're trying to. Because Kerrygold is from the exotic land of Ireland. Yes, they're going to serve us Kerrygold butter at HHN this year.
I don't know.
So when you try to type in Mike, hand unit goes... I see what you're trying to type, and I will autocorrect it for you. Hello, Eggs Benedict. Mistaking that as your character's name, which obviously it is not your character's name. Your name is Mike, more specifically Michael Afton.
Okay.
And then Exotic Butters is a very similar situation where the keyboard bugs out, except Exotic Butters is from the end of the game. After completing your week of work, the hand unit asks you what kind of gift basket you would like. If you would like a fruit basket, if you would like gift cards, if you would like the ever popular cash basket. And so you probably try to type in cash basket because you would like that money, but the keyboard glitches. And instead, you get a basket of various exotic butters that you take home with you that night.
Interesting.
And it's kind of stuck around as a joke since then.
So does it just look like a basket of butter?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing indicating to you what is exotic about it by looking at the basket of butter.
There's a bow at the top.
Okay. All right.
But I think with that, you've become, FNAF now. You know the basics of FNAF. You've made it to 6 a.m. and you survived.
So, let me ask you, what kind of merch are you hoping to see at HHN?
Above everything, there's one thing I would really, really like. Last year in the Tribute store, they had a bunch of really cool masks. And I got one because it vaguely reminded me of the demon from Insidious. It vaguely reminded me of the lipstick face guy.
Yeah.
I really, really, really hope they have a puppet mask there. That is my top pick. I also want some shirts, maybe a sweater. I would like maybe some pins or plushies.
Is that the end of the...
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back to the
I
other
would
screen.
love potentially some plushies of the characters. Maybe a Golden Freddy plushie like there is in FNAF 4. Do we get printouts saying congrats? You know, the basic certificate. We confirm that.
You haven't taken the test yet.
Yeah, you have to pass the quiz. It is 200 questions. So, and you need to get a 99 or higher to pass.
I want Carl. That's
you
what
want
I
Carl?
want. I want Carl.
I would really like if they made cupcakes that look like Carl. I would really like to eat one of those.
Okay. All right.
I think it is a good idea to call out that there might potentially be Freddy Fazbear food options, mainly because they have those themed food stands. Yeah. And so far we've seen one for Terrifier, we've seen one for Fallout. I think it would be maybe a little bit of a miss to not put a FNAF one in there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you want to see the animatronics from the movie
Mm-hmm.
appearing at HHN.
I would love it, even if they were just like in a display case.
That could be difficult
Yes.
because HHN is not only in Orlando,
Yes.
it's also going to be in Hollywood.
That is
so
true.
how do you do that? Unless, I don't know, for the movie, did they make multiple of the same
They might have.
animatronic?
I know in the movie they made an animatronic version and a costume version. So potentially one place could have the costume and one place could have the animatronic.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. We're getting requests for merch in the chat. We'll see what we can do. Okay. How do you feel about things?
I feel great. This was very fun. It was really nice to talk about this franchise that a lot of people, like you talk about sometimes how certain franchises were your childhood. I'm still technically in my childhood, so this franchise is basically my life at this point.
Great.
Not as in it's encompassed my whole life, but like it's been around. I've been part of the fandom and watching it grow since 2014 when I was watching it hidden behind a bookcase on my little Kindle.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see it's grown to be this icon of horror.
Yes. Yeah. And all of that was allowed because of your parents. So, chat. Parenting for the win. High five.
All I will take away from this soul metal. Yeah, Remnant is crazy.
Yes.
Just wait till you read some of the books. That gets really weird.
So, all right. So now I feel like I'm prepared for that house. One thing I will mention to our chat is that we've been doing additional research. It's not just been all FNAF all the time here because Jason Universe is another house that will be at
Yes.
Halloween Horror Nights. So we have been partaking of the classical brilliance that is
The Friday the 13th
the plot
movies.
scripts and acting of the Friday the 13th movies. So we just finished Jason X, which is movie number 10
yes.
in
Roman
the
numerals.
series last weekend, which is about Jason Voorhees going to space.
Yep.
Yes, you heard that right.
Jason Voorhees in space.
So, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is not the only one to have been to space. Jason Voorhees has been there as well.
Uh-huh.
So I think next weekend, hopefully on Sunday evening, we are going to review everything that we have learned about Jason Voorhees and the Friday the 13th franchise in preparation for that house. So you can look out for that. I will tell you, I feel I personally have more questions than answers when it comes to this.
Me too, definitely. That's a wild franchise.
Yes, and oh boy, there's a lot to
There's a
digest.
lot of questions.
There's a lot to digest there, but we're 2.5 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
Any last thoughts on FNAF aside from the fact that when they announced it was going to be at HHN, you told me that this is the greatest day of your life. Like, I'm happy for you. I hope you have even more significant things than this that happens.
There
so.
will be a more significant day, and that is when I experience it for the first
Oh,
time.
great.
When I go through the house, that will be the new greatest day of my life.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for the basics on FNAF lore. I think if you're looking for anything more in depth, there is plenty of content out there for you over the past decade. I'm sure you can find something to your tastes.
Yep.
So,
Yes. And if you're still watching and you're wondering what this channel is about, so this is my fun little project. There's a lot of things that I intend to do with this channel. Gaming live streams will happen usually on Tuesdays. Crafting live streams will happen usually on Thursdays. And Sundays is for family fun discussions when I can drag my family on here to talk about all the pop culture-y things that we enjoy. But basically, this is really meant to just be a channel where people can kind of hang out and just have entertainment. I feel like in today's world,
yeah.
we all need as much fun as we can get our hands on. So with that, I think we're ready, Peanut, to close out the evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll subscribe, and we'll see you in the next live stream. So until then,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.